record on this computer. Yes, we're good.
Sweet. Okay. So, guys, we are going to make I have a couple of announcements. We're going to go crazy fast, and then we're going to let Jaylin go. I'm going to mute. Nope, I can't mute everybody anymore because I'm not the host. But Jaylin, no, I'm going to mute myself because it's probably going to mute me. So, I'll watch it, and if all of a sudden mutes me, I'll unmute myself. Okay, announcements really fast. We are going to start doing Emerald in 24 hours calls, and we're going to do them every other week. And as of right now, they're going to be on Tuesdays. So these apply to everyone in the team. Okay, Jaylin and I are going to do them together so that we're hearing different perspectives, different whatever. They're going to be every other week. The first one's going to be next Tuesday. So I want you to have a couple goals in mind, okay? Number one, if you're not Emerald, you're getting your booty on that call, and you are going to be Emerald by next Thursday. You're going to use the things you learn, and you're going to make yourself Emerald like that. You're not going to make it hard. Emerald is a decision. It's not. We don't need to complicate it. So you're going to get on that call. You're going to go Emerald. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, okay, well, I'm already Emerald, then your goal is before next Tuesday, you have a builder who is on that call, who is going to go Emerald in 24 hours. And if you're like, well, all my builders are already Emerald, then this is when you start sending out crap tons of coach invites to your existing challengers, to those that are liking your coach posts, so that you are getting new blood in. And every week it is going to be, or every other week when we do these calls, it is going to be your goal to, number one, constantly be upping the amount of coaches you have. So you are bringing in new blood, but not only that, you are creating duplicatable systems that you are helping your coaches go Emerald, because this business is all about going Emerald over and over and over again. That's how you grow in this business. That's how you see success in this business, is you just go Emerald over and over and over. You're constantly building one new coach on each leg, so that you are building. That's how you get yourself to diamond. And then as you help your coaches go Emerald and go Emerald and go Emerald and go Emerald, that's how you pop diamonds. And that's how you star diamond. That's how your cycle bonuses come up. That's how your income comes up. So number one goal, if you're not already Emerald, get your booty on that call and be Emerald next Thursday. And if you are already Emerald, you get a builder on that call. If you don't have any builders, or if all of your builders are already Emerald, then time to start sending some coach invites. So, and we are going to be talking next week's team call that we're doing on Wednesday. Team calls will always be Wednesday. The Emerald calls are separate. We will be talking about, we have a guest speaker talking about things she does to find builders. So that's going to be fabulous. Okay. And then the other announcement, Super Saturday is this weekend. Okay. Super Saturday is like absolutely vital to seeing success in the business. I get that not everybody, unfortunately, not everybody's in Utah. So I get that not everybody can come to the same Super Saturday, but you need to get yourself to one where you are. They are everywhere, so you can find one if you decide you want to find one, okay? Since I signed up to be a coach, the only Super Saturday I have missed was when I was throwing up nonstop while I was pregnant with Emma, and somebody live streamed it to the team page, and I watched the entire thing. So I wasn't able to go in person, but I watched the entire thing. I have never missed a Super Saturday, okay? And it's very important. It's a foundational piece of your business. You need to get to Super Saturday. So depending on where you are, it could be Super Friday, it could be Super Sunday, it could be Super Saturday night. It depends on where you are, but there is one where you are. So you need to find it, and you need to make the effort to go. And I know that sometimes it can be scary to go to events when you don't know anybody, especially if you're not in Utah. Micah's umbrella, Jaylin's umbrella, and my umbrella is starting to get to the point that we are past Utah. We do have coaches. So if you're looking for somebody and you know you're going to a Super Saturday where nobody in our team is there, let me know, and I'll find some people for you to hook up with, because I'm sure in Micah's umbrella, between Micah's umbrella, Ashley Smith's umbrella, Melissa Brewer's, Cozy's, Jaylin's, there is somebody that you can sit with from our team. So tell us what Super Saturday you're going to, and we will help you find somebody to sit with so that you don't feel alone and you need to go, okay? And those of you who are coming to the Utah one, Chris Downing is coming. This is going to be freaking amazing. He is like, if you guys love him in Shift Shop, just wait till you see him in real life. He is so fabulous. And this test group that we're doing with him that starts next week is going to be like absolutely life-changing. So make it to Super Saturday, especially if you're at the Utah one, and get ready for the test group because it's going to be so freaking awesome. And amen, Tiffany, be prepared to die in his live workout because he knows how to kill you when he works out with you live. I've worked out with him live twice in Mexico and in Las Vegas, and then did a short one with him in Summit. Tiffany and Kylie, maybe it was Tiffany and Camille, worked out with him at Summit as well. I think Kylie worked out with Shanti. Anyway, it was amazing. He's amazing. He's amazing live. Get ready. Get ready. Okay, that's all the announcements I have. It's Kylie, Camille, and Tiffany. That's right. You guys all went to, yeah, Chris is just fabulous. Get ready. It's going to be great. Okay, that's everything I've got. So we're going to turn the time over to Jaylyn. Jaylyn is, for those of you who don't know, Jaylyn is my upline. She is 2-time, about to be 3-time elite. She is a 10-star. She, in her lifetime as a coach, has made over $250,000. She is very successful with what she does. She knows what she is doing, and success leaves clues. And one of the things that Jaylyn is a freaking rock star at is attraction marketing, because she knows who she is and she knows how to post to find people just like her. And she knows how to tell a story. She knows how to be someone on social media that people want to follow, so that when she posts about Shakeology or a workout or a test group or Energize or coaching or a sneak peek or Super Saturday or any business related thing, it doesn't come across as, oh my gosh, that girl's just trying to sell me. It comes across very, she knows what she's doing. She gets people who are interested. And even if people aren't interested, they still interact on her posts because she knows how to weave this into her life through how she posts, and people trust her. And so she creates trust with how she posts. So that being said, Jaylyn, take over and give us all of your how to stand out on social media tips. So excited.
Okay. Well, that was like so flattering, everything you were saying. That was so nice. Okay, so she kind of explained what I'm going to be talking about, you guys. And this is something that, like, I didn't know when I was a first coach. This is not something that I was, like, automatically good at. In fact, I kind of stumbled across this on accident by sharing a story of my daughter that was extremely scary for me. It was something I would rather hide away. I thought people would judge me. All the classic reasons we don't typically like to share who we really are is we're afraid of, judgment and all of that stuff. And what it did was open my eyes to how much people really do want to know us. And that when we share who we are authentically, it actually drowns out the haters, to be honest. And so that I kind of stumbled across this on accident. So first thing I'm going to ask you guys is, if Beachbody and Health and Fitness was stripped away from your news feed, what would be left? Okay. Do you think people would know who you are? If they came across your feed, say you sent a friend request, if they went and looked at your feed, would they feel like they know you? Would they feel like they are connected to you on a personal level? And if the answer is no, then you've got some work to do. That's what we're going to talk about today, about how you can do that, okay? Humans are naturally attracted to a story, okay? So that's a big part of this, is finding your story. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to read a ton of Brené Brown quotes, okay? And if you're not familiar with who Brené Brown is, you need to look her up. She is like the queen of being vulnerable, which is at the core of us telling our story, okay? And if you're like sweating and getting like sweaty palms right now, you need to embrace this, okay? So just trust that we know what we're talking about, and that I promise this will actually make a huge difference if you want people to be coming to you, okay? So think of like sending invites and then having people invite themselves. It's like double, okay? So your business could potentially double from attraction marketing. So Brené Brown, first quote, you either walk inside your story and own it, or you stand outside of your story and hustle for your worthiness. Okay, we're just going to keep reading these until you're like, okay, I get the point. I get it. Vulnerability sounds like truth and feels like courage. Truth and courage aren't always comfortable, but they're never weakness. Staying vulnerable is a risk we have to take if we want to experience connection. Okay, if any of these quotes stand out, this is the one I want you guys to understand the most, that being vulnerable is what will connect you to your tribe, your followers, the people that you're hoping would join you. This is how you connect with them. Owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. Embracing our vulnerabilities is risky, but not nearly as dangerous as giving up on love and belonging and joy, the experiences that make us the most vulnerable. Only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. Okay, so once again, think about any experience where you felt connected with someone. I can guarantee you it's because they shared something vulnerable. It's nothing ever surfacey that connects us to people, ever. And so you have to be willing to be that person that's vulnerable. Those who have a strong sense of love and belonging have the courage to be imperfect. This, for me, was when I finally owned who I am. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, you guys. I'm not your typical person. I talk a lot about how I'm a hippie. Okay, I do a lot of against the grain things. A lot, basically our entire lives. We feel like we kind of go against the grain. And for a long time, I ran away from that. I felt very judged. It kind of made me bitter in a way because I felt like I couldn't be who I wanted to be, but it was my fault. It was because I wasn't owning my story. When we find the courage to share our experiences and the compassion to hear others tell their stories, we force shame out of hiding and end the silence. I think this is the last one. Yep. Okay, last one. What's the greater risk? Letting go of what people think or letting go of how I feel, what I believe, and who I am? That is like the other one. I want you guys to really understand that your worrying about being judged is only going to sift through the people that are not your tribe. Why would you want to spend energy and time not being who you really are because you want so-and-so to like you when you're being fake to make them like you? Okay, they're not your person. I would rather be alone by myself than in a room full of 1 million people who are fake. That's not my tribe. So when you embrace who you are and you lose friends in real life and on Facebook, which will happen, okay, it's only sifting through the people who are not your tribe anyway. They're not your real friends. So don't sit and get stuck on those people. Why would you want to be around that? It's just toxicity, okay? Hold on, I'm going to open the chat so I can see your stuff. Okay, so hopefully that got you guys like thinking like, oh my gosh, like sharing my story is going to be vulnerable. It's going to take guts, but I hope that you also saw that that is where you'll feel like you are authentically you and you can be you for the first time in your life. Like you can be you. And this for me is huge. Like I said, I felt very judged because we homeschool our kids. We are very natural path, like doctor oriented, if that makes sense. Like we haven't been to the doctor in over 5 years. If that tells you something, like we're very hippie. Like I have my babies at home. We do an MLM. We just retired my husband, so he's now a stay-at-home dad, which he helps us run our business. But like all of these things that could be seen as against the grain, as like you're weird, why do you do that, are now something that like I embrace and my followers embrace because I embrace it. Okay, so I want to show you that when you embrace your own story, it really does drown out the haters and it silences shame. Like I think I've only ever had a couple comments that have ever been kind of rude. And what's funny is when that happens, I don't even have to say anything. My followers totally jump on the bandwagon of like, you don't get to talk to her like that. And so I don't even have to defend myself. My followers are defending my weird ways. Okay? So embrace your story. And we all have things in our story, in our lives, that maybe seems scary to share. But I promise you, P.S. I have a 7-week-old. If you can't hear her, I might have to like nurse on the call. Another thing that people might be like, oh my gosh, don't nurse around people. I'm sorry. I won't show you my boob. I will be covered up, but I may have to nurse her. Okay, that's another part of my story. Okay, so we've talked about those Brene Brown quotes. Now I want to show you the power of sharing your story. And so I'm going to have you guys watch another video, a video. Hold up. I didn't do that right. Let me make sure I get it on the right thing first. And now I got to get this pulled back. Okay, here we go. Okay, I want you guys to watch this. And I want you to tell me what you think about this video. So this was something that was showed at leadership, and I was like, dude, that was a good video. Professionally done. You know, gave me all the feels. Motivating.
Close your eyes. Okay. Breathe.
All right, ready? Yeah.
What does the Journey Collection mean to you? It means I'm being who I was born to be. I'm creating and I'm designing and I'm living my dreams. And this is the ripple effect of just finally getting to the place of doing what I so passionately love and want to be. A lot of people view me as the girl who lost my parents in college, and I was a girl that was supposed to carry on Paisan and Joyce's legacy, but deep down, I want to be me. I want to be Jennifer Page. I want people to look at me and be like, she listened to her own intuition. She listened to her heart, and she followed her dreams. Soldier is a fashion brand, and it designs handbags, but it's so much more than that. I want it to be about encouraging young people to be who they are, to follow their dreams, and to not get swept up in the white noise, but to know that if there's something they want to do, to go after it and do it with all their heart and all their passion. If you're doing what you're meant to do, you will get there.
Okay. How many of you thought it was a well done video? I saw it and I was like, okay, professionally done. The music was like positive. The words were motivating, right? They were almost like personal development, like I'm living my dreams. I want other people to see that they can live their dreams. But did it tell her story? Do you guys know who she is? Did you guys notice her say something about losing her parents? Like what though, right? Like we have no idea who she is besides the fact that she followed her dreams and made this purse company. And so now this is kind of harder to hear, but just try really hard. I'm going to have Kendra Hall. If you guys did not watch the video that Ashley sent you guys, you need to watch this before it's taken down. Okay. This is a keynote speaker, so they're not supposed to record these. Just hurry and watch it before it's taken down, because the whole thing is amazing, but this is the one segment I really want you guys to notice today. So try really hard to listen to what she says about that video.
Okay, so what you think? This is my favorite part. So let me ask, how many of you thought that was actually pretty good? Right? But you know it's the before video. Yeah, so you know it's the back one. Right, so you don't want to say that was pretty good. And you heard in there, I mean, that could have been you, right? Talking about following your dreams, which I believe as I was listening to that panel up here, I was like, yeah, like you don't follow anybody else's rules. Like you get to live your life how you want to live it, which is essentially what she's saying. Tune out the noise, pursue your passion, do what you're meant to do. But she didn't tell a story, okay? She talked around a story, and this is the thing I want you to remember. This is the biggest mistake we make when we start trying to use stories in our business, or your team is trying to tell their stories. We allude to the story, but we don't actually tell it. We allude to a story. We mention there's a story there, but we don't actually tell the story, so we don't get to reap all of the benefits that we just spent the whole first part of this presentation talking about. Let me ask you, how many of you, watching that video, thinking back to it, heard what the story might have been? Did you hear when she said it? What was it? Her parents. How many of you heard her say, when I lost my parents, right? You heard her say that, right? And did your brains, when she said that, go like this? Just a little bit, because your brain wants to hear a story, but she didn't tell the story, so you didn't really pay attention, and we all kept going along, and no one was the wiser for it, and what we got was a pretty good video. The question is, what difference would telling the story actually make, and how do you feel about this brand, and how do you feel in general? Good news, you don't have to wonder. We have an after video. I hear before and afters are an important part of business. So we have an after video. We got together with Jen, we reshaped this video so that she actually told the story, and I want you to see if you can tell the difference telling the story makes.
I suppose my story starts like anyone else's. My parents wanted what was best for me and not to have to experience the struggles that they did. So I pursued a business degree, and then afterwards I planned to pursue law school. Then when I was 21, my life changed. I woke to find myself hanging upside down by my seatbelt. My family's SUV had flipped over several times, hitting the base of a concrete billboard before coming to a stop. Both my parents were taken from me that day. My mom was killed instantly, and my dad died hours later in the hospital. I knew that saying goodbye to two people I loved would be hard, but what I wasn't expecting was how hard the aftermath would be. Everyone was wondering what I would become in light of this tragedy. There's a lot of pressure, scrutiny, a lot of noise. I'll never forget the last words my mother said to me. She was sitting in the passenger seat of the car, and seconds before the accident happened, she turned around and she said to me, "Where do you want to go?" The next moment was chaos, and she never got to finish that sentence. But her voice, that question, "Where do you want to go?" is forever frozen in my memory. I decided that the best way to honor my parents is to find the answer that worked for me, for Jennifer Page, not for anyone else. Soul Carrier is the manifestation of that. Every handbag I design is created to serve as a daily reminder, to ignite people to do what they're meant to do. I don't know where to be when someone asks you that question, where do you want to go? Or if you will have to ask it of yourself. But when that day comes, I hope that Soul Carrier can be a reminder to tune out the noise and to choose the path you were meant for.
Okay. Who got goosebumps and almost wanted to cry watching that? Doesn't that make you want to just go buy her handbags like right now? Because there's like a huge story behind that. That's not just some lady was like, I think I want to make purses. Like there's a big story behind that. I never would have known that from her first video, right? So how much more connected were you to her just from her telling that little bit? We still don't know a ton of her background. That was a very, very, very synopsis of what happened to her parents, right? We don't know the details. We know enough that she told her story and got the point across. So that's what I want you guys to understand, the power of our story. And I'm going to show you some examples of my own, that when I've told this story versus when I haven't, and how much the engagement has changed on my stuff. Okay. So, hold up. Okay, so first I wanted to show you guys before we do that. Actually, no, I won't. I'll show you the posts that I'm talking about, and then we'll go back through these other pictures. Kind of did things out of order. Where did I put them? Maybe I didn't upload them like I was supposed to. Hold on. I might have to do it a different way. I think I forgot to upload them. I did. Okay, so hold on a second. Let me grab them from my desktop. Okay. Okay, now I should be able to share them. Nope. You guys. Oh, wait. Let me see, actually. Can you guys see a picture? No? Just me still? Okay. Let me just hurry and upload these to my, uh-oh, now it's thinking hard. Okay, let me hurry and upload these to my Google Doc, and then I can show you. Oops. And my baby is screaming. Real life, right here. Okay. Okay. Now we got him. Okay, so these are two different transformation pictures. The first one is actually, in my opinion, a better transformation picture. So let me get you guys seeing my screen. It's a better transformation picture. Okay, so this is my Beachbody journey before and after, okay? From the very beginning to when I was in the best shape of my life before I had my last baby. I think that kind of speaks for itself, right? Like it shows that these programs work. Guess what I didn't do? I didn't tell the story. This was all about how, you know, I'd seen comments about how people think at-home programs don't work. And I was like, well, clearly they do. You have a chance to be in a group with the trainer. This was for Lift 4. Look at the interaction. Not even a single comment, okay? Got 33 likes. Well, just last week, I posted this transformation, okay? This was obviously like before Beachbody, and I just told the story of before versus the after, and I talked about how it was October of 2012. I was 18 months postpartum with my third daughter. It was my first trip without her since her birth. I was attending a conference with my mom and my sister. My sister colored my hair for me, and when I walked out of that hair school, it was cold, and I was wearing a red maxi dress, and I remember it was cold because I was wearing a red maxi dress and hello breezy. Uh-oh, am I frozen? Are we back? Okay, what did you hear last?
We heard about the conference and your red dress.
Okay, so I remember it being cold because I was wearing a maxi dress. Like maxi dresses are super breezy, right? Well, I was wearing a maxi dress because nothing fit me. All I wore were maxi dresses. And I was super uncomfortable in my own skin, and I would stay that way for another kid before I finally realized how much taking care of myself was important. Okay, so that was the story of this post. Look at the interactions on it. Okay, the only thing I changed, still a before and after picture. In fact, I don't think it's as awesome as this one, but it had a story to it. Okay, people connect with the story, and because I was all of a sudden talking about how I felt and there were emotions in it, people were like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, I needed to hear that, versus like, you just need to take care of yourself so you can lose weight and fit cool clothes. Like, that's not the point, right? So you need to remember to tell your story. Okay, so really quickly, I wanted to go through some of my biggest posts, and all of them have to do with who I am. And like I mentioned, I'm not like everybody else. We all have our own story. We all have our own quirks. The first biggest thing for me is, like I said, I have my babies at home. Is that common? Is that something you'd be like at a random activity, like, hey guys, I do home birth? Like, if you want to be attacked, that's a great tactic. Like, people have very strong feelings about home birth, right? Okay, because I've owned my story and I've talked about it enough, When I announced my daughter was born, look at my interactions. Okay, they don't have to agree with home birth. Okay, that doesn't mean they can't be my friend. And I've even said those type of things in my posts, like, we can still be friends just because we don't believe in the same things. It's okay. Okay, so I owned the fact that I have home births, and I'm not tiptoeing around it. I've done live videos on it, and that is actually my biggest post to date. So 1,500 interactions with almost 400 comments. Then I posted pictures of the home birth, and once again, almost 1,000 interactions and over 100 comments and some shares. Okay, you don't have to be like everybody else to own your story. It doesn't need to be a common thing. It doesn't need to be like everybody else. This is a post I did when my baby was a few days old, and it was on her due date. She was born like 6 days before her due date. She was born 2 days before her due date. So she was 2 days old, and I miscarried before I got pregnant with her. So once again, I'm sharing something like, is miscarriage something a lot of people talk about? It's not. For some reason, no one wants to share that story. I know a lot of people don't even share that they're pregnant until after the first trimester in case they miscarry, so they don't have to tell people they miscarried. That was another one of my big posts. Another big thing that happened to us is my husband is a police officer. He was attacked last year, and I shared that. So at the time, I couldn't share it publicly. So this was to friends only. So my views were even less, and I had a lot of interaction from just sharing my story. Okay. Cops aren't exactly loved right now, according to the media. So even sharing that is scary. You risk people hating on you. For the most part, like, I haven't really had too much trouble with sharing that. Thank goodness. This was another post I did. After my husband was attacked, I actually started journaling the event. Okay, and that's something we're going to talk about when you're sharing your story, like how to share your story. This was part 1. And I literally told the story from my perspective. I described everything I was seeing, how I was feeling, and it's one of my biggest posts. Like, I'm like shaking just talking about this. Like, it's still very like traumatizing to me, apparently. This is another one. So just like, I was literally, this happened like a year ago, like right now. So this is probably why I'm still like shaky, because I'm seeing these memories come up and I'm like, holy crap, I need to print this off, because I did a dang good job at journaling our event, and things I had already forgotten about, you guys, I have written down. So I cannot tell you how grateful I am that I am journaling our story. Okay. Another super sacred, this was like my most sacred post I'd ever done up until that point, and it got almost like, 800 likes and over 100 comments. This super controversial, if you want to like get people whipped up in a frenzy. So when I miscarried my son, that's a picture of him. I blurred it out on the main post so that people can't see the detail if they don't want to see the detail. And then I shared like the detailed picture in the comments, and it's obviously a big post. And it was shared, I want to say over 100 times. That is like extremely controversial. Okay. But I owned it because I was like, this is part of my journey. And I know that for me as a miscarriage mama, I actually Googled the night before I miscarried him what 11-week babies look like. I wanted to know what he looked like in case I didn't get to see him, but I was extremely blessed and I got to see him. And I know that for me, seeing a picture of him seeing a picture of a baby helped my mommy heart. And so I knew there were other mommies that would experience the same thing. And I had a lot of them say, oh my gosh, I had no idea my baby looked like that when I miscarried. So even though it was controversial, I felt it was important, and there was actually a reason to share it. This is another post I've done recently. It was actually on the anniversary of my husband's incident, and my daughter is actually, her birthday is on the 28th of August. His incident happened on September 28th. And so like to us, that's a special day, because now Like every month, that was kind of an anniversary. Every 28th of the month was kind of like, oh my gosh, it's been 1 month, it's been 2 months, it's been 3 months. And so when she was born, we're like, we finally have like a good thing to replace on the 28th rather than his incident every month. And so this was her 1 month picture and his 1 year picture of since his incident. And it was another big post because I'm sharing my story. And now we're going to talk for a second about like identifying like ways of who you are. Okay. So a big part of who I am is, I have no problem being homeless, as you can tell, but I really, really, really like makeup and clothes. Like that's a big part of who I am too. So this, like anytime I can morph who I am into posts, I will do that. So this dress wasn't even the point of my post. My post was about trying to get ready because my husband was home on paternity leave. And so I was like, I'll make it a goal to get ready every day until the baby comes because he's home all day. So I can't like, use the excuse that he's not here. So a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, where'd you get your dress? Okay. So like just finding ways to share, morph multiple things into your post is a great way to tell who you are too. Okay. So really quickly, let me pull up my notes. You need to remember that when you tell your story, you have the chance, hold up, I'm going to mute some people. Okay. You have the chance to show others that they have a new way of living. I know that for me, I never would have joined coaching if my coach hadn't shared how her life was changing because of coaching, right? Like, I think we get so stuck in our life that we think people know what's going on in our lives every day. And we see how coaching is changing our lives every day, but they don't. They're not a part of your life. So you need to be sharing how this opportunity, whether as a challenger or as a coach, you need to be sharing it often enough that people know what's going on in your life because they don't see the everyday changes. And you need to show them that by the way you're living, because you're sharing your story so well, that they have a new way of living as well, okay? So that's all through your story. And it's bit by bit, brick by brick, like the house isn't built overnight. And it's all these daily stories that add up over time that make people see the change of you were over here and now you're over here. So it's constantly adding a brick to your story every single day so that eventually you have a house and people are like, oh my gosh, I remember when you started. And I've gotten to the point that I have people who will tell me that I remember before you were a coach. It's been amazing to watch your journey. Well, I have to share my journey for people to even see that change. And that's a daily activity. Okay. Think of your content as a gift. How can you help them become a better version of themselves or solve a challenge? So it doesn't even need to be all Beachbody. Okay, you guys need to find ways to tell your story that has nothing to do with Beachbody. A lot of those posts you just saw don't even have Beachbody as the main point. Beachbody is usually weaved in somehow because my life and Beachbody are so intertwined that it's who I am. So eating healthy, working out, personal development, all that has to do with coaching, but it's also a big part of my life. So they're naturally weaved in. But even some of those posts that have nothing to do with Beachbody a lot of times offer some way out of a challenge. I'm sharing my journey of how I overcame something. So that's like the miscarriage post. Okay. So what did that do for moms who have miscarried? They got to see what their baby would have looked like. Okay. So even though it was really good and healing for me to share, it actually had a point to it and could help others. You need to communicate your story in a narrative form. Like if you were literally to print your feed off, could it become like a book? It needs to be read like a story. So the post I showed you of my face transformation, I literally told it like a story. It was October of 2012. It was cold outside. Like when I read you that or told you that, could you guys kind of picture it yourself? Like, could you feel the cold? Could you picture my maxi dress? Could you, because I gave descriptive words, you want to tell your story in narrative form so that people can picture it in their head. Okay. People who follow you will start to think of their life in narrative form, and that's how they'll connect to you as well. They're following you and they want to know your story. They don't care that you got your workout in. They don't care that you ate kale today. They don't care that you read personal development. They want to know who you are. Like, what did that workout do for you? How did that personal development help you through a struggle? How do you do what you do? Like, they want to know, okay, you're a coach. What does that mean? How do you do what you do? Okay, and all of these can be on Insta stories as well. You guys don't get stuck on like just posts. Like, Insta stories is a great way for you to share the behind the scenes of who you are as a person as well. When you do your stories, you can include call to actions, okay? But the call to actions that we do need to be very specific. People don't know what to do. I think sometimes we assume people are just going to come to us. They're going to be like, oh, I need to reach out to her. They don't. They don't know that you can help them unless you tell them. So when you're doing call to action and you're telling this great story at the end, you need to be very, very specific in what you want them to do. So if that means you tell them, you need to join me. So comment below if you're ready to change your life in this way, or whatever it is. You need to literally tell them step by step. Comment below, message me. Facebook's being weird, PS, with those words. So you kind of get creative a little bit, but you need to make it clear that they need to reach out to you. It's not a just sit and lurk, like quit watching, come join me and we'll change your life together type thing. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to show you, like, great, I need to tell my story. How do I tell my story? I'm going to go through some little tips that will help you learn how to craft your story. The first thing, pictures, you guys. I don't know how, like, many times you'll hear your pictures need to be eye-catching. That is something you need to master today. And that needs to be mastered before you even tell your story, because guess who's going to not stop for your story if your picture is crap? No one will stop for your story if your post is not eye-catching. And how do we scroll? We're looking for an eye-catching picture. We don't stop and read the words and then look at the picture. We look at the picture first, then we'll read the story. Okay, so first things first, you need to have good lighting. If your house has terrible lighting, you need to invest in a light. I have a ring light from the brand Neewer, Neewer. It's like the Diva ring light at like a third the cost. So it was like $88 or something on Amazon. It gives you a tripod, like the filters that go on it. It comes with the attachments to put your phone on it. Like, it's worth $88. Okay. If you do have good lighting in your house, hold on. I'm going to turn off the light. I have the light on right now. Okay. I'm going to show you. Do you guys see how much different the lighting is? I am facing a window right now. I could make it a little bit better with the blinds. Is it still like, whoa, that's amazing lighting? No. Okay. So having good lighting makes a difference. And I would still recommend you invest in a light. I didn't realize how much I used or would use the light when I bought it. I use it all the time, you guys. I do it for my live videos now. I use it for taking pictures. I use it for Zoom calls. Like, you will get your money's worth and it's a write-off. Okay. A little plug for This Is a Business. You need to be willing to invest in your business. And if you're hesitating, remember, this has the potential to be $1 million business, but it's not going to be if you're trying to skim and not spend any money at all. Okay, so be willing to invest, be willing to figure out how to make it work. So if you do not have a light right now, get to the light source. Do not ever take the picture with the light behind you. You need to be within 30 inches of the window to have the best light. Okay. Neewer on Amazon. And I got the big bundle kit. It's like 88 to 90 something. It's not in the hundreds. So it's like somewhere around there. Okay. Okay. So if you don't have a light right now, get to your windows 30 inches facing the sun. Okay. It can't be windows on the back of your house. They won't have as good a light. So whatever window is facing the sun, get within 30 inches. Yes, the fridge is a good cheat until your light comes. Okay, because it's good lighting. Other tip, replace the light bulbs in your house to daylight lights. The soft light is poo. They're terrible. Like, We replace them in our bathroom and bedroom before the home birth because they make such a difference in lighting that's like my lighting in my bedroom. It just makes you happy too, PS. Like there's something with lighting and happy hormones in your brain. It feels like daylight. So it's going to actually make you feel better. My ring light, I actually turn on when I'm not even needing it. If I'm working at my computer, I turn it on because it's a happy thing. There's a real thing to lights, okay? Yep. Okay. So pictures. I want you guys to go follow some lifestyle bloggers. If you're like, but I don't know how to take pictures, go find some lifestyle bloggers and mock their photos. Okay. Like they need to be staged to an extent. Does every picture need to be staged? No, but if you want your feed to be eye-catching, you have got to stage the pictures to an extent. I would say 2 out of 3 need to be staged. And every picture needs to be taken on purpose. Even that third picture that is not staged, like super fancy and all cool, it still needs to have intent behind it. You need to know what you're trying to post about, and it needs to still have good lighting. The other thing I'm going to recommend is invest in presets for filters. Okay, we don't need to filter ourselves to look like Barbie dolls. I'm not talking about that, like skin smoothing filters. I'm talking about color filters. It's going to help. It's the difference between you taking a picture and a professional photographer taking a picture is presets. Okay, so you can download the Lightroom app on your phone for free. I think I have Creative Cloud through Lightroom, so it's free for me. I don't know if there's a cost if you don't pay for the monthly subscription to Photoshop and all that stuff. I pay for that, so it's free for me. The presets you can buy from photographers. I paid like $50 for a preset from a photographer I like that I followed on Instagram, and guess what she did? She told me she was selling them on her stories, and I purchased them. You can use VSCO camera, VSCO. That one's free, and the presets are ridiculously cheap, like $2 for a pack. Okay, so if you're like, I don't want to invest in 50, go and find something that is going to stand out. It's going to help with the lighting on your pictures. I should actually show you guys the difference it makes. In fact, I will. You can still take really good pictures, have really good lighting, and the presets are going to make it pop even more. So if you want your stuff to stand out, that's another way to stand out, because you can have people who naturally take good pictures on your news feed, but the second you have a preset, it's going to pop and it will stand out more than just a really good shot picture. Okay, so let me grab some real quick that I just took yesterday, and I will show you how much of a difference it makes. This is a food picture, so this should show you how much of a difference it makes. Am I back? It said my internet was unstable again. Oh no. Am I back? I was frozen for a second. No! Dang it. Am I back?
Yep, there you go. You're back.
Stupid internet. Okay, I'm going to show you guys, this is a food picture. So you'll be able to see how much it actually does make a difference. Okay, and then we're getting to the meat of, and it'll be really quickly to talk about how you craft your story, okay? So we're almost done. Okay, now let me pull up my screen share again. For real. I'm connecting to my hotspot. Just a second. This is ridiculous. Okay.
Back, but
Okay, we should be good. I just connected to my hotspot on my phone. So stupid. Okay. Let's see if the pictures will work now. Oh my gosh. Guys. Just a second.
How was the call?
It's good. I'm almost done. Okay, now let's do this. Let's see if it will. Maybe. There we go.
You did that kind of, okay.
Look out, baby. Yep. Okay, got it finally to work. Okay, this is the picture that I took from my phone. Not terrible. The lighting in my kitchen is with daylights. This is edited. Do you see the difference? Like just way more clear, way more crisp. The colors are vibrant. Simple, literally tap on a button and it edits the whole thing and I'm done. It takes 2 seconds, PS. Okay, so I do that with like all of my pictures. A preset is added to them. Nice. See, if you can get people to stop for a food picture, you know you're doing okay. Okay, so now let's talk about how to craft your story. So a story is not a list of results or features, right? Like my crappy before and after. I was basically like giving them a list of results. See, it works because of ... I lost this much. It didn't mean anything. A story is not well-placed emojis. A story is not a photo, okay? Are my photos eye-catching? Yes. Do they tell the story of what happened? No. Okay? So the whole point of the photo is to stop them so that they read your story. Okay? It does not tell the story. It gets them to read the story. A story is not a bullet point list. And a story is not biz buzzwords like boss babe or fit mom or all of those words that we use. Those don't tell a story. Okay? And I loved how she talked about a lot of times we allude to the story, right? We'll say something, but we don't tell them the details of it. Like, I'm trying to think of a post. It's whenever you like, it's almost a teaser. Like, my husband was injured in an incident, but not ever telling them what the incident was, right? Like saying this last year was super hard for us because my husband, you know, we were all traumatized from his incident. Well, what the freak happened, right? So it's not alluding to a story. You need to tell the story. What was the story? What was the incident? Okay. So the other day, another post I did that was pretty big was we actually had fake names on Facebook. I've had a fake name on Facebook for like 5 years. I didn't use my real last name. My husband was totally not even near his real name. And I did a post saying, hey, we're out of the incognito closet. Here's a quick recap of why. I didn't even go into detail. I just said, husband's a cop. You know, this like was a way for us to stay safe. Husband was attacked last year. Suspect died. We united, like all of this, like a very quick story. And it was a big post, but I still told a story even though it was very short. Okay. So it doesn't need to be long to be a story. Okay. A story is something that happens in a particular moment. So my red dress. Okay. That was the moment. I got my hair done, walked outside. It was cold. That was the moment. There's a beginning, a middle, and the end. And she talks about how a lot of people start in the middle. We don't tell them the before. We don't set the stage. So for instance, the maxi dress post would be me starting with, I only wore maxi dresses. I don't know. No, it'd be more like, I never took care of myself until my 4th kid, and totally skipping the maxi dress story. Okay. So there's a beginning, middle, and end. They're emotions, not just information. So I talked about being uncomfortable. I talked about being cold. I talked about being bitter and negative. Okay, there's emotions in there, and they don't need to always be huge emotions. She talked about that in her call. You don't need to always have huge emotions either, okay? And it's not just information. It's not just telling facts. You've got to tell the emotions behind the story. And there are characters to care about and something at stake. Okay, so what was at stake was my happiness in that post. I didn't take care of myself, therefore I was not happy. Finding the story. This is how you can figure out, well, okay, what is my story? Make a list of all your firsts. Okay, like any kind of first you can imagine. Make a list. So for instance, my red maxi dress, that was the first time I had left my daughter since she was born. Okay, we have so many different kinds of firsts. Make a list of customers and team members. I guarantee you have stories with them. Ashley and I have stories all the time together because we were friends before coaching, and now obviously we're friends because of coaching. So we have so many different stories we can come up with each other. And make a list of their biggest challenges. So you can make a list of their challenges and how can you relate to that? What was your story that related to those challenges? A story of the one who got away. So if you watch her call, she talks about her one friend she kept thinking about that she needed to invite her to join her business, and she finally got up the courage to, and the friend had joined another business 3 days before. Okay, so there's always that story of, man, I wish I would have acted sooner. So the one who got away. When someone told you you couldn't, but you did anyway. This is like my favorite with coaching, okay? This is something people tell you can't do. You can't be successful at. Watch me, right? Okay? Okay, crafting the story. There is a normal, an explosion, and a new normal. So the normal for me was wearing maxi dresses, being uncomfortable, and then what happened? I had another kid and I couldn't take it anymore. That was the explosion, and the new normal is that I started taking care of myself. Okay? Rules for crafting the story. You need to set the scene. So that was me setting the scene. It was October of 2012. I was up at a conference. I left my baby for the first time. How many moms can relate to leaving their baby for the first time? It's not easy. We all are like, oh man, it's also fun. Not easy, but exciting. You miss them, but you're so excited to be away from them. Like, we all relate to that. I set the scene of it was cold. I was at my sister's hair school, whatever. Okay, so the scene people can visualize. You want them to be able to visualize where they're at, even though it's probably not even close to what it looked like. They're picturing this happen in their head as you're telling the story. Include the emotions. I was cold. I was uncomfortable. The struggle was being very negative and bitter and uncomfortable. The hope was after, when I figured out that self-care was what I needed to do to become a happier person. Include specific strategic details, and that was telling them the self-care, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the main thing is you want them to picture it. You want them to feel like they're in your story. And that's why you have to tell it in narrative form. Okay, let me look at my notes real quick, and I think that's pretty much it for, yes. Okay, one more thing. When you're trying to think of stories, I want you to write down any fears you've ever had, any failures you've ever had, any trials you've ever had, okay? And I know a lot of people are like, well, my trial includes a spouse or a family member, and I can't share that. You can always share your perspective, okay? When my husband was injured, because he's a police officer, there was an investigation. I couldn't share literally anything. I couldn't talk about, like, I had to wait for the media to release his injuries before I could say his injuries. But before then, I shared the story, okay? So I shared from my perspective. So whenever it includes someone else, you don't need to talk about them. You're talking about you, okay? And when we talk about them, it typically doesn't resonate with people anyway. So remember that. Write like a journal. You need to be writing as though you are talking to yourself, writing your journal. Or how would you word it if you were talking to your most supportive best friend, mom, brother, whatever, the one person who would never judge you? That's how you need to write it, and that is how you will find your tribe. Okay. Yeah, I can share the Google Doc. There's nothing but pictures on it. It's not fancy. Okay, do you guys have any questions really quick? Did that help you figure out like how to share?
I was at leadership and I still took 3 pages of notes. That was freaking amazing. Oh my gosh. I hope y'all got like half as much out of that as I did. That was freaking fabulous. Oh my gosh. Okay. Do you guys have any questions or any, especially while we have Jaylin live, this would be a really good opportunity if you are like, okay, I know this is an area I want to work on, but I'm not, I don't know, if you are stuck somewhere, if you're whatever, this is where you, Jaylin, I know that a lot of people that I talk to get the, okay, I want to share my story, but I don't know what my story is. I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am besides Beachbody and a mom. What's your like top couple tips for figuring out who you are besides being a coach and a mom?
Okay, first you've got to remove the mom guilt, because for some reason when we are trying to figure out who we are, we feel guilty if we detach from being a mom. Okay, who were you before you were a mom? What did you like to do? That's when I was like, dude, I love makeup. Like, what happened? I became a mom and all of a sudden it was like, I don't have money. I can't buy makeup. I can't buy clothes. Like, I loved all of that before I was a mom. Okay, but for some reason, mom guilt makes us feel guilty for even liking something besides being a mom, which is BS. Okay, you're a better mom when you know who you are. And I don't want my kids to ever feel like their identity is only tied to being a mom. Like, I would seriously, am I frozen again? Okay. I would feel horrible if my kids only identified as being a mom. Okay. If that is all they felt they were, I would feel like I failed as a mother, because I want them to know who they are as a person so they can benefit their children as well. Okay. I want my kids to have passions and hobbies. I want them to know that they can be what they want to be and still be a good mom. Okay. So remove the mom guilt would be my first piece of advice, and go back to who you were before you were a mom. What did you enjoy in high school? I love music too. Little quirks. Okay. What makes you uniquely you, so that when people see that, they'll think of you. I shouldn't hate, because I actually like it now. It's weird. I don't like to do the dishes. That was something I always talked about. I hated the dishes. Then I figured out I love candles. So if I want to light my smelly, yummy candles, I have to have a clean house first, because it's pointless to waste my yummy candles when the sink is stinking up the house and covering the yummy candle smell. So I started talking a lot about how I can't light my candles until I've cleaned my house. That's a quirk. That's a little unique thing. So now people will like, oh my gosh, have you tried this candle? And I have people sending me candle links. The bath. I love the bath. I have my babies in my bath. So like, that's a big part of who I am. People will send me like bath bomb things and like, you should try this one. Or they'll find a meme and they send it to me and they're like, this made me think of you, because they're little quirks that I share. No one would know that if I never shared about that. If you love a certain food and would do anything to eat it always, Danielle Natoni loves French fries. So people identify with her as French fries. And I think shoes. Like, there's little quirks we all have that we somehow overlook. Do you have a nighttime routine? Do you have a morning routine? What makes you crazy? What makes you excited? Ashley and BYU football. Does everybody know Ashley loves BYU football? Like, yes, because she loves it, is excited, and talks about it. So think of anything that excites you. And you guys, you have to strip away the fear of judgment too. Like I said, who I am is kind of quirky. It's like I go against the grain in literally every area of my life, but it gives me stuff to talk about. And it also shows me my true followers, who are my true friends, because they don't judge me for it. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I don't judge me for it. I have come to accept who I am authentically, and people sense that, and they're not going to question that. Okay, so you have to be confident in who you are. Did that help at all?
Okay, so now I know another thing that I hear a lot is a lot of people have things that they're passionate about that, you know, kind of like what you talked about, how some of yours are, you know, homeschooling. And like, I know personally, because like you and I are best friends, that you're like anti-vaccination, and that you're, you know, like you talked about your home birth, and that those are things that can be incredibly confrontational. And I know that there are people who, you know, are very specific to talking about their religion, or there are people who are very, like I have a couple coaches who are atheist, and they want like nothing to do with anyone who feels about religion. So talk about how you can tell your story without offending people, so that you're not casting a line, you're casting a net, and you're making everyone, because this is something I feel like you're a pro at, because I am pro vaccination, I am pro hospital, I am pro school, I am pro opposite almost everything Jalen said, and she's one of my best friends in the whole world. So she's very good at sharing her story and who she is without making me be like, dude, I cannot be friends with this person because she's so different from me. So how do you like toe that line of sharing who you are I've never felt bad that I choose to not nurse my kids, where she is very pro nursing, do whatever you can. And I've never felt like she felt any like hostility towards me, that I am pro epidural, and I got induced early with Emma, where she is all about letting your body do its own thing. So talk about that, about how you share who you are without repelling people.
Okay, so first, the vaccination thing, I just don't even go there. That's something I don't think I'll ever talk. That vaccination, circumcision, those will never, that for some reason makes people crazy. So those are things I personally still will not talk about, and they're personal to me. So if I did talk about vaccination stuff, I don't care what you do. There are personal reasons why we don't vaccinate. Okay, that doesn't mean I judge you. So I think that's the biggest thing is personal development. You guys changed me though. I did feel like when I was judged, I was judgy. Does that make sense? And it's because I was judging myself. So the first thing is you have to realize that it's okay when other people do other things. And like Ashley said, you guys, there's not a lot of people that do what we do. I don't know people that, like a ton of people. I know some. I don't know a ton of people that homeschool and home birth and, are super, super pro nursing. Like I said, though, I'm not going to judge you for your journey. Your journey is your journey. So I think in your posts, you don't judge yourself, and you'll find that personal development is seriously what changed that. Like, it's okay for me to be me, and it's okay for you to be you. It's okay for your journey to look different than my journey. And I think it's that energy is what's going to change how your posts come across. And I have said that when I didn't talk about my home birth for quite a while. I still was not over the miscarriage. I didn't have like the emotional energy to combat someone if someone did get combative. And so I didn't talk about it for a while. So I waited until I was ready. And when I did I'm a hippie, we all know that, I made it clear that it's okay if you don't agree with me. It's okay if you think home birth is risky and scary and stupid. But it's okay that we differ. Okay, it's okay for you to do your thing, and it's okay for me to do mine. Just remember that my choices don't impact yours. So even saying that gets people to be like, okay, well, I doubt they're going to confront me when I'm like, just be nice here. Like, I do my thing, you do yours, and we can still be good friends, okay? Yeah, and it's my journey. So I think that's the biggest thing is you can't be, if I was blasting people who were making different choices than me, that is the quickest way to lose followers and friends, right? Because no one wants to be judged. So I think that's the biggest thing is share your story authentically, and you've got to be able to not judge yourself first. And then when you come to that realization that it's okay to be different, it's okay for them to be different, then that changes everything. So if you're not to that point, you need personal development big time. Like, that was a huge thing for me. When I came to my own, that's when I realized I was judging others and they were judging me because no one wants to be judged. So you judge them, they're going to judge you. But if you can come across as, I love you no matter what you do, we can be different, they're going to feel like they can come to you. Okay. I also think that owning your scary weirdness is what makes people trust you. Because if you can own your scary weirdness, they're going to be like, dude, I can tell her anything, because she is talking about some crap that I would never dare talk about, right? Okay, so just being authentic, non-judgmental, and owning your story. It's that whole Brene Brown quote, like, you can either run from your story or you can own it and feel like you have love and belonging. You won't feel that love and belonging until you own your story. Not that everyone tolerates cult life. Exactly. Yeah. So it's all about the story.
Holy crap, so much yes. Okay, since nobody has any questions, we'll do one more, and then if anybody has one, you can chime in. Otherwise, we'll let Jaylen go. What do you feel like has been some of your best PD books that have helped you specifically with finding your story?
Oh, gosh. I feel like
Obviously, probably Brene Brown.
Yeah. So, and I don't think I've actually read a full story of hers. I've watched a lot of her TED Talks. Her TED Talks are amazing. I'm listening to Dare to Lead right now. I just started that yesterday, but her stuff just speaks to me because, like, I'm like, yes, like being vulnerable. You guys, like I said, I fell across it on accident. And it's funny. I alluded to the story when I told you guys that. My daughter has Asperger's, and I didn't admit that to a soul before I did that post. Okay. So, that was on accident, and it was vulnerable. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, I had people coming out of the woodwork. And then when Brene, like Gift of Imperfection, I have read some of that. That spoke to me just because like the vulnerability, you guys, seriously is where you connect with people. It's those vulnerable moments. So Brene Brown is fantastic if you're scared to share your story. I'm clearly not scared to share my story because it's freeing. If I could like just mindset, like telepathically, like transfer how it feels to share and own your story, you guys would all have no hesitation to do it because it really is freeing to come into your own and own your story. Unf yourself is another really good one. Yes. So that one is like live your life and who gives a crap what anybody else is thinking. I gotta
And he doesn't say the F word anywhere near as many times as the title implies.
I think
That book is one of my favorite personal development books I have ever read. It is Unf Yourself.
He has a Scottish accent. So like even when he does say it, it's funny.
It's hilarious. Yep. Amen. Oh, one of the best audibles ever. He's great. I love that book.
So that one is definitely, You Are a Badass at Making Money. Because that is all about, it's not even about money as much as people think. It's all about speaking the life you want. Like believing the life you want is out there, putting it out into the universe. So it was like, dude, I can be weird and we can live this, very unorthodox life. Like how many people want to homeschool and retire their husband and spend all day with them? Like that's something else not everybody wants to do, but we can live that life. That book is really good. Hold on, buddy. I think Girl Wash Your Face. Yeah. So yeah, but a lot of it for me was just doing personal development and changing my mindset over time. It wasn't something that I was consciously like working on. It was just doing PD that made me realize over time that like it's okay for me to be me. And as I accepted that, I stopped judging others. Does that make sense? So really you just need to up your PD game, and I don't think it matters what book it is. You'll start to realize that it's okay to be you. And as soon as you accept that, everything changes.
Okay, well, we're going to close out. I really do want to emphasize, and I'm just going to brag on Jalen for a second, the power that your story can tell. I don't know how many of you guys, most of you guys know, I was a Beachbody coach before, wanted absolutely nothing to do with it because coaches are icky and salesy and gross, and I wanted nothing to do with that life. And Jalen signed up to be a coach, and I remember thinking, oh, I cannot wait to watch her realize that she made a mistake. I cannot wait to watch her slowly back off from posting about coaching, that she's going to talk about it. She's all excited now because it's new and it's an MLM. She's going to back off. She is going to quit because everybody does, because this Beachbody world is gross. And I watched as I vividly remember the post she paid off her van. I remember the post that she bought her husband a gun with money she made that week. I remember the post when she gave her van away to a family member because they were in such a good place financially, she could give away a car. And these are not things that like she highlighted on a team call that everyone look at me. These were not posts that were everyone look at me. These were stories she told that made a difference, that not only made me want to follow her, but it made me want to do this too, so that I could have a story too. When you are telling your story, you are not just telling your story for your challengers so that they'll pick you and so your likes will get higher and so maybe you'll get 5 more. You are not telling a story because you want your engagement to go up or because you want to make more money or because you want to hit Success Club this month. You're telling a story because you want to change somebody's life and because you think that your story has the power to change someone else's life. That is why Jalen's story has changed thousands and thousands of lives just because she changed my life. Because of the trickle down from me and my team has been over 1,000 lives, let alone every other person she's ever touched and impacted, okay? And that's what happens when you have the mindset that you're going to get out of your own way, you're going to be vulnerable, and you're going to share your story because you want to change other people's lives, not because you're trying to get your likes up, okay? It's, seriously. So much yes. I'm putting this call in New Coach University. This was friggin' fabulous. Okay. Anybody else have anything super fast before we let Jaylen go? Since we've kept her for a super long time, and I'm sure Greg is like, get off that fucking computer.
He's
Okay.
good for livelihood.
True that. Okay, you guys are. This was so good. Thank you so much. Will you send me the recording